Once upon a time, in a village called Alikoro, lived a young woman named Obaya. Obaya was married to Ikaw, a wealthy cocoa farmer known throughout the village for his business acumen and his temper. Every day, Ikaw found new reasons to vent his anger on Obaya, beating her and hurling insults. Despite her suffering, Obaya stayed with her husband because of the shame associated with leaving one's marriage. One evening, after a particularly brutal beating, Obaya fled to her father's house. Her father, Chief Adetukanbo, was shocked to see her. Obaya's face was swollen, and her eyes were filled with tears. She collapsed at her father's feet, crying uncontrollably. Chief Adetukanbo lifted her gently and brought her inside, where he asked her what had happened. With a trembling voice, Obaya narrated her ordeal. She told her father how Ikaw had been beating her for years, and she could no longer bear it. Chief Adetukanbo listened quietly, his face growing more somber with each word. When Obaya finished her story, her father sighed deeply. "No daughter of mine will bring shame to this family," he said firmly. "You must go back to your husband's house. We cannot let the village think you were not raised properly." Obaya's heart sank. She knew her father's decision was final. With a heavy heart, she returned to Ikaw's house, fearing what awaited her. As she entered, Ikaw glared at her. Without a word, he grabbed her and beat her until she lost consciousness. Obaya woke up the next morning to an eerie silence. She noticed Ikaw was still in bed, unusually still. Tentatively, she touched his hand, and it was cold. Panic surged through her as she realized her husband was dead. Trembling with fear, Obaya ran out of the house, screaming for help. Villagers gathered quickly, whispering and pointing. Soon, the news of Ikaw's death spread throughout Alikoro. Ikaw's family, led by his brother, Adesela, arrived at the scene. Adesela, a tall man with a commanding presence, immediately accused Obaya of murdering his brother. "You killed him!" Adesela shouted. "You threatened to kill him many times, and now you have done it." Obaya was stunned. She had indeed shouted in anger during beatings, but she had never meant it. She tried to explain, but no one listened. The village elders convened an emergency meeting to decide her fate. Chief Adetukanbo pleaded with the elders to allow Obaya to prove her innocence. The elders, recognizing the gravity of the situation, agreed to perform a ritual. The ritual would reveal if Obaya was guilty or innocent. That night, Obaya and her father arrived at the village shrine. The chief priest, Baba Ifolik, stood waiting with a solemn expression. He explained the ritual to Obaya. She would drink a special concoction made from the water used to wash Ikaw's body. Then, she would sleep beside his corpse overnight. If she woke up unable to speak, she would be declared guilty. If she could speak, she would be innocent. Obaya's heart pounded as she drank the bitter liquid. The taste was horrible, and she fought the urge to vomit. She lay down next to Ikaw's lifeless body, her mind racing with fear. The night was long and terrifying, but eventually, she drifted into a fitful sleep. As dawn approached, villagers gathered outside the shrine, whispering anxiously. When the first light of day broke, Baba Ifolik entered the shrine with the elders and Adesela. They waited with bated breath as Obaya began to stir. She opened her eyes and tried to speak, but no sound came out. Panic-stricken, she tried again, but her voice was gone. The villagers gasped. Adesela shouted, "She is guilty. She must be buried with my brother as our customs demand." Obaya's eyes filled with tears. She picked up a stick and scratched a message in the dirt, "I am innocent. Do not kill me." But the villagers, bound by tradition, ignored her plea. The elders pronounced her guilty, and preparations began for her burial alongside Ikaw. As Obaya was led to her grave, she wept silently. The villagers were somber, but they believed justice was being served. Obaya's father watched in agony, powerless to save his daughter. He knew deep down that she was innocent, but tradition was unyielding. Days turned into weeks, and strange occurrences began to plague the village. The river, once clear and life-giving, turned red like blood. Animals started dying mysteriously, and crops failed. The villagers grew fearful and restless, unsure of what curse had befallen them. One night, an old woman named Aya Abike, known for her wisdom, approached the village elders. She claimed to have had a vision. "The spirit of an innocent soul cries out for justice," she said. "An abomination has been committed, and the land will suffer until it is rectified." The elders listened intently as Aya Abike continued. "Obaya's spirit seeks vengeance for the injustice done to her. She was wrongly accused and buried alive. Her spirit will not rest until those responsible are punished." The elders were deeply troubled. They knew they had to act swiftly to appease the angry spirit. They decided to investigate further, seeking the truth behind Ikau's death. As they dug deeper, they uncovered shocking revelations. Adesela, Ikau's brother, had always been envious of him. Unknown to the villagers, Adesela had coveted Obaya for himself. He had conspired with Baba Ifolik to frame Obaya for Ikau's death. The concoction she drank was designed to silence her, ensuring she could not defend herself. The elders confronted Baba Ifolik, who confessed under pressure. He admitted that Adesela had bribed him to manipulate the ritual. The truth was finally out: Ikau had been poisoned by Adesela, who then used the false ritual to eliminate Obaya. The village was in uproar. Adesela, realizing his plans had unraveled, tried to flee, but he was caught by the angry villagers. They dragged him to the shrine, demanding justice for Obaya and the suffering he had caused. Baba Ifolik, filled with guilt and fear, offered to perform a cleansing ritual to appease Obaya's spirit. The villagers agreed, hoping to end the curse that plagued them. They gathered at the shrine, where Baba Ifolik chanted ancient incantations and made offerings to the gods. As the ritual progressed, the air grew heavy with anticipation. Suddenly, a strong wind blew through the shrine, extinguishing the candles. A ghostly figure appeared, and the villagers fell to their knees in terror. It was Obaya's spirit, her eyes filled with sorrow and anger. Obaya's spirit spoke without words, her presence conveying her message. She pointed at Adesela and Baba Ifolik, demanding justice. The villagers, realizing the extent of the betrayal, turned on Adesela. They bound him and prepared to deliver the punishment he deserved. As they led Adesela away, Baba Ifolik begged for forgiveness. Obaya's spirit seemed to consider his plea, then slowly faded away. The wind died down, and the candles relit themselves, signifying the end of the ritual. The village elders declared that Adesela would face the ultimate punishment for his crimes. He would be buried alive, just as he had condemned Obaya. The villagers, though uneasy, understood the necessity of this act to restore balance and honor the innocent. Chief Adetokanbo, heartbroken but relieved that the truth was revealed, participated in the ceremony to honor his daughter's memory. They erected a memorial for Obaya, ensuring that future generations would remember her story and the lesson it carried. The village river gradually returned to its clear state, and the animals and crops recovered. The curse had been lifted, and the villagers vowed to uphold justice and truth, no matter the cost. And so, the village of Alikaro learned a hard lesson about envy, deceit, and the importance of seeking the truth. They promised never to let jealousy and lies lead them to harm the innocent again. The tale of Obaya became a legend, a story told to children to teach them the values of honesty, justice, and the dangers of envy. Her spirit, finally at peace, watched over the village, ensuring that the people of Alikaro never forgot the trials she endured and the justice she sought. But this was not the end of the story. The villagers, having faced such a harrowing ordeal, knew that they must stay vigilant. They had to ensure that the lessons learned from Obaya's tragic fate would guide their actions and decisions forever. The tale of Obaya would continue, revealing more about the village of Alikoro, the people who lived there, and the challenges they would face in upholding justice and truth. The story emphasizes the need to thoroughly investigate and seek the truth before passing judgment. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the story. Please consider subscribing to the channel. See you in the next video.